So before starting this video, I watched a ton of roadmap to success videos. And can we all agree that most of them are just fluff? I mean, it's all the same stuff. Work harder, be consistent, ignore your feelings, have a sense of urgency. Stop it. If you're feeling unmotivated, it's probably not because you need another pep talk. It's because you're burned out from running a business model that's fundamentally broken. And their only advice is to tough it out. Really?
Bruh.
You don't need more speeches. You need a roadmap. Imagine if you're wandering aimlessly through the desert in 100-degree heat with no map, and all you've got is some old Walkman blasting motivational speeches. How is that gonna help? It's not. How's it going, everyone? My name is Mason T, and I am an international importer / e-commerce professional. But more importantly, I've been doing this for over 20 years. In this video, I'm going to give you an actionable, practical, step-by-step roadmap to how anybody can go from zero startup costs to enterprise e-commerce level. There's going to be no fluff, no platitudes, just real clear steps that anybody can take to build something real and sustainable. So who is this video exactly for? Well, if you're a beginner, then this is going to teach you exactly how to start from scratch. And if you're currently reselling or thrifting, then this is going to show you exactly how to pivot from your current business model that you're having trouble with to building something that's a lot more scalable and sustainable that doesn't cause any burnout. All right, so we got to start somewhere, right? So the first thing you do is that you sign up for an eBay account, and then you also sign up for ChatGPT. What you're going to do is that you're going to take everyday stuff from around the house and just try to sell it, okay? If you don't have any things, ask family, ask friends, ask neighbors, whatever. Just find something to sell and start trying to list them on eBay. When you first start off on eBay, you'll have a selling limit of 10 items or $500, whichever one comes first. Familiarize yourself with the platform. So the next thing you're going to do is open up ChatGPT, and you're going to treat this like a person, like your brand new secretary. And what you're going to do is that you're going to open up chat and then basically give it a briefing of your life story, where you're at right now, what your situation is, and basically what you're trying to do. See, you have to understand that in order to use this program very effectively, the program has to familiarize itself with you just as much as you are with it. So what we're going to do over here is that I'm just going to go ahead and paste in a prompt that I already have here. You guys could take a look at it. And this prompt is to help me sell an item that I currently have on eBay. So I'm going to just go ahead and tell it I'm trying to sell a pair of headrest pillows. It's for cars, they're ergonomical, yada, yada, yada. And then we're just going to go ahead and hit enter and then see what the answer that is we get. So it's going to go ahead and give us a title over here, and then I could go ahead and say give more examples if I don't like that one, and then it's just going to spit out 10 examples right in front of us, and then you could pick any one of those to use as your title. You want to do this for pretty much all aspects of your product so that your titles, your descriptions are all refined right from the beginning, because at this stage of selling, this is pretty much the best that you could do. You want to take nice photos with your camera phone, and then you want to use ChatGPT to help you make some excellent titles and descriptions. So the purpose of this exercise is to help you get that beginner level e-commerce experience. What you're really looking to do here is earn about $200 worth of profit before you move on to the next level. So at this stage, you will start going out to thrift stores or discount stores or perhaps some garage sales looking for stuff to sell. This is where you're going to start training that beyond the lookout eye and researching items that's going to be good for your shop. Now, normally I would never recommend this business model for the long term, but for the short term, it actually builds a lot of muscle. You're going to get comfortable with bringing items home to catalog and put onto your store. Now, because you're probably going to garage sales, thrift shops, and stuff like that, you're most likely probably going to be doing some type of clothing, whether it's jeans or t-shirts or jackets. That's usually what most people pick up. So because of this, you're going to open up a second store on Etsy. Etsy is an excellent platform for selling clothing and other handmade items. The best part about Etsy is that it actually doesn't have any starter selling limits, so jumping into here after beefing up eBay is actually a pretty good idea. So after you expanded your platform reach over to Etsy, you also want to start working on your eBay account as much as possible while trying to increase the selling limits. Every single month you can request for a higher selling limit as long as you've been behaving very well. Once you've expanded your sales platforms to both eBay and Etsy, keep your notifications on because the moment you sell something on one platform, you want to immediately take it off the other platform. This exercise will teach you both vigilance and balance in managing your inventory. As you go out thrifting and sourcing more items, I don't recommend that you ever exceed more than 200 items total because you are looking for experience. You're not actually looking to expand this business model. So focus way more on refining all of your listings, making them better and better and better. Better photos, better descriptions, better titles. Keep on doing this process over and over again so that you get really good at selling. Now you want to apply some type of a tracking system for your items. Items that don't sell after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, exactly what your exit strategy for each item is. Are you going to start marking them down? Are you going to start increasing the ad percentage in order to promote them harder? Figure out a strategy that works best for you before moving on from here. Because at this point, you can only increase your selling limits once every single month. So you should be at this level for at least 4 to 6 months before moving on to the next level. The goal here is to generate at least $500 in profits because you have to start learning how to generate profits on top of having costs. You also want an item limit space on your eBay account of at least 500 items before moving on to the next level. Once you've completed this, I'll show you what to do with your $500. So moving on to level 2, this is where we're going to start low-level small bulk sourcing. So I have the split screen open over here and I have AliExpress and Temu. So here you could do two different types of searches. You could use either the word bulk or you could use the word wholesale. So on AliExpress, I have wholesale, and on Temu, I have bulk. And these are the search results that I got. And you could search through these, right, for all sorts of different kinds of items that is sold in either wholesale quantities or bulk quantities. Now, at this point, you have to make a decision because there is a fork in the road here. If you have a certain passion, then it's time for you to niche up. If you're still not sure exactly where you want to go, you just want to sell something, then you should actually niche as wide as possible, okay? So what that means is that if you already know exactly what your passion is going to be, then I recommend that you go ahead and find things in that niche, plus type the word wholesale afterwards. Like if you're going to go into stationery or audio or photography, then add bulk afterwards and then see what you get. Now, I would say source anywhere between 6 to 8 items of that niche and see where you go from here. If you're not sure of exactly where you're going to go, then cast a much wider net. Go ahead and source 10 random different items that catches your eye and keep that all under a $500 budget. So this is exactly what you would do with your $500 after you've made some from thrifting. Now, while I can't tell you exactly which items to purchase, I can give you a practical plan of what to do with your items. So the first thing that you're going to do is to test and tally all of the items that you're selling. Whether you bulk sourced it in 24 or 36 or 72 pieces at a time, you have to monitor your rate of sales so you get a good idea of whether this item sells well or sells poorly. If the item sells well, then set a marker for yourself exactly what constitutes selling well that warrants a reorder. If something sells not so good, then definitely find a way to phase it out. Sometimes you source an item that might have been only moving 2 pieces a day, but because you only have maybe about 24 pieces of it, it's going to be gone in about 12 days. So therefore, there's really no reason to develop an exit strategy, but it doesn't really warrant a reorder either. So what you want to do is reassess your inventory regularly. What we're trying to do right now is that we have finally a chance to start developing some core prospect items. And what that means is that without having a small batch of items to attempt to try, there's no way we could replicate success over and over on our store. Because when things sell and things are following a certain trend, it doesn't really mean anything that something is selling well on a market as opposed to if something can sell well through us, through our store. Because things that sell well in a market, although it catches our attention, that sales actually has nothing to do with us as opposed to actually have that item in your store that you moved yourself. So if you purchase something, say maybe 30, 50 pieces of it, and it blows out in about 5 days, then you've proven something on your store, and that definitely warrants a reorder for you to continue this item. So at this point, the goal is to start building core items. This way, your business starts to become a scalable experience, because only when you start having core items does your sales start to become more and more predictable. Plus, you'll be able to make a lot more decisions based on data-driven facts. So before moving on, I seriously recommend that you guys develop 2 or 3 prospects, meaning that you have to have items that are really looking good, that seem to have a very bright future before moving on. Otherwise, you should repeat this process over and over again, sourcing a couple of items at a time and making sure what sells and what doesn't, reordering things that are doing well and just phasing out things that aren't doing well. This will help you get good at being vigilant of your business and how to get your money back for items that didn't do as well. This level is super interesting because now, since you've developed a couple of key prospect items, it is now worth your time to go ahead and source for larger quantities. Now, to source for larger quantities, normally I would suggest going to a trade show to go find either factories or sourcing agents. Otherwise, I suppose you could go to Alibaba.com, but did you know that you could also go on Fiverr to hire a freelancer to do so? So let's jump over to the screen cap over here, and I'm going to show you this site. So Fiverr is a place that you guys are going to be coming back to using this a lot. Okay. Throughout this whole roadmap, I'm never going to suggest to you guys to hire a whole bunch of general workers, but I am going to suggest that you hire a lot of specialists into your team, because any smart business person is going to surround themselves with specialists, people who are smarter than they are, in order to get a lot of cool things done. So when you jump on Fiverr over here, you could go ahead and then type in the word sourcing agent. So for some of you out there who don't understand exactly what a sourcing agent is, in the old days, we used to call them trading companies. I don't know why we don't call them that anymore, but a lot of them are called sourcing agents now. So what a sourcing agent is kind of like a middleman between you and factories. Okay. And what happens is that they already have connections with a lot of factories out there. So different sourcing agents for different niches. Some of them are wider, some of them are a little bit more narrow, but essentially, with each sourcing agent, you could talk to them first and then ask them, if your fields match each other before you have them try to look up factories for you. But there are a lot of very versatile sourcing agents out there where if you tell them, look, I'm looking for fishing equipment, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, they're going to be able to deep dive it for you and find some factories that could meet your standards. So the good thing about this, right, is that you have to understand exactly the difference between a sourcing agent and the factories. So the sourcing agent, they're really good at one thing, which is consolidating stuff for you. Because sometimes you want to buy multiple smaller quantities of things to fill your orders or to fill a container or to fill whatever you want to bring in. And a sourcing agent can compile all those things for you, as opposed to when you buy from just a factory can only deal in whatever they make. So think of it more like this, right? Your agent is pretty much you out there, your eyes, your ears, your dealer that will be your broker to getting everything that you need. So when I put in sourcing agent over here, so I'm just going to randomly look at one, right? And let's see what she has to say. So my name is Hoa. And after working in import-export for 8 years, I've decided to start my own business in 2022. I'm creative, inquisitive, and responsible person at work. You could choose from a lot of freelancers out there, but I may be the only one who can do the following, which is the ability to work outside required hours to complete a project on time, think like the customer, and find the right solution and save costs. I only receive payment for products that meet your expectation. Right, so that's something to really understand. Generally, I will tell you this, I will tell you this up front, which is when you source through a sourcing agent, generally they not really looking to make any upfront costs from you. Once they go back and forth and help you confirm the item that you want to purchase, they're probably going to charge you anywhere between 3 to 5%, which is the industry standard for sourcing agents on top of what your order is. Now, there's a lot of benefits into this. I'll get deeper into this in another video if you guys request it. But generally, they're going to do some quality control for you. They're going to do they're going to take a lot of responsibility for the orders that you place. So what you can do here is jump on Fiverr and talk to a couple of sourcing agents to find the right one for yourself. So once you find your sourcing agent, you're talking to somebody who has access to the factories. And what that could do for you is that now you could start refining your items on top of what you were purchasing before. You could make it more customized. You could change certain things about it, change up the packaging in some way, make the item more simplified, or add more features to it. Whatever it is you need in order to make the item even better than it was before. You have the ability to do that now. Now, I know at first it seems like a lot to go from sourcing maybe, 20, 30, 50 items to over 300 items in one go. But once you have an item that is steadily moving, like maybe 10 pieces for you every single day, when you really think about 300 units and you're moving at 10 units every single day, that stock is going to be gone in 1 month. And for the time that it takes to order something to the time that it gets to you, maybe you're going to be ordering about 600 to 900 units every single time you place an order at this point, if you're doing very well. Here's a key thing to consider. Once you start sourcing in larger quantities directly from a sourcing agent or a factory, you're going to get way better margins. Now, rather than pocketing those margins, what you could do is that you could take a portion of those margins and bake it into the cost of your goods along the side of increasing your ad fees. So instead, maybe you were running ad fees at 5%. Now you could bump it up to 9%. Maybe you weren't running ad fees before, and now you could just go ahead and then jump in with 2 feet and put it, at 8%, 9% ad fees and bake that into the cost. The point is your focus will shift no longer from profit by unit, but rather profit by volume. Because once you start having those good margins to start paying for ads, you might ramp up your sales from 10 to 15 or 20, 25 a day. So the true goal of this level is to build that pipeline. Now you have your full supply all the way to your sales channel. And it's also time to expand on your sales channel. This is the time where you exactly have enough goods sourced in to start your Amazon and Walmart accounts. So now we're going to expand ourselves from eBay to Etsy to Walmart to Amazon. When you think about the best companies in the world, it's really not so much about being gimmicky in any way, but rather offering a very, very well-made product. Now, all of the top companies out there not only have an excellent product, but it is a well-polished product. And what I mean by that is that it is presented to people in a very polished way. And for us to do that, we once again have to go back to Fiverr. Okay, so we're back on the Fiverr page and we are looking for 2 guys to help us out. So the first one is going to be product photography. Right? So we're looking for a professional product photographer. Really consider jumping through a lot of them, shop through many of them, talk to a lot of them, negotiate your prices. But essentially, we want an excellent product photographer to take 2 types of photos for us. Some lifestyle photos, which is your items in action, and some nice studio photos. They're going to have all the lighting, all the studio equipment, all the macro lenses and the photography stuff. So negotiate everything that you need to do in order to get these photos on hand first. So the next person that we're going to hire after we get those studio shots and lifestyle shots is actually called a product image designer. So over here, we're going to scroll down. We're going to interview a lot of people and then look through their portfolios and then see what they could do. So I found one guy over here who, he looks okay. We're just going to use him for an example here. And these are all the studio shots that was probably taken by a professional photographer before. So he's the guy that you're going to send all the work from the original photographer after you sent the original photographer some of samples of your products. And then they're going to take those photos and start to make infographic photos for you. They're going to make some hero photos, infographic photos, and all sorts of things so that you can have a far more well-polished listing. To recap, you're looking to hire exactly two guys. The first guy is the photographer that you're going to send some of your samples over to, and he's going to take beautiful images first. Then you're going to take those images and send it over to the product designer, and he's going to go ahead and create all those beautiful infographic images and hero images for your listing. So at this point, you have three main things. Number one, a couple of core asset items that is selling every single day to help keep your business afloat. Number two, you have produced some beautiful photos that you could now put on the large platforms like Amazon or Walmart. Now it is time to consider Walmart FBA and then Walmart FBW, I guess, because it's the same thing as FBA. It's just that it's fulfilled by Walmart. But essentially now what happens is that you have all those well-polished photos. You have the help of ChatGPT. You can make beautiful, beautiful listings and send your product in bulk over to Amazon and Walmart that's already proven in sales on other sites such as eBay and Etsy. Now, because you're regularly purchasing items in bulk from sourcing agents, the sourcing agent is very inclined to help you out on very small orders if you need it. So let's say I'm regularly buying my products, right, which is in 500 pieces to 1,000 pieces every single time. On the side, I say, hey, Hoa, can you please help me out with this one as well? I just want to buy 20 pieces of this and 30 pieces and 40 pieces of that. I just want to try a couple of these things. They're going to do their best to make that happen for you because they want to earn the sale of your larger ticket invoice. The main goal at this level is elevated product presentation. You're no longer selling just like a normal reseller, but now you're at a company professional level. By now, you should have 4 to 6 core items in your business, providing stable income and allowing your business to thrive. So these core items went from core prospects to core assets and now can generate enough revenue in your business to help fund future products as well as transition into brand building once we get to level 5. At this point, we are very strong. We got 4 sled dogs that's pulling the rig right now: Etsy, Walmart, Amazon, eBay. And we also have a couple of professionals under our belt to help us out. We have our sourcing agent and we have our 2 photography guys so that we could go ahead and create any item that we want, and we could create well-polished items once we want to put it onto the market. By now, you should have already figured out exactly what your niche item is, because it's going to be obviously whatever your core items are. You're going to double down on exactly what they are, the versions of it, or other complementary items in that niche because you're all in now. But once again, we're going to jump back on Fiverr and we're going to get one more professional to help us out. And that specialist is going to be called a social media manager. I would suggest you find 8 to 10 different ones and talk to each one and see what their strengths are and how you vibe with them and exactly if they share the same type of vision with you by showing them exactly what you're doing. Because you don't have to spend a dime until you're ready to hire them. So therefore, definitely spend more time measuring than one time cutting, right? So once we choose our social media manager, they're going to be able to handle a lot of different ideas for you, especially come up with ideas that could help for your business. So off the top of my head, obviously, let's say we're doing cosmetics or something, and we want to just go ahead and find a couple of people out there who are doing makeup tutorials or something. We would send our social media manager to go say hello with them and say, hey, what would it take for us to get our product onto your YouTube? Maybe if they're a smaller channel, they could just go ahead and, take some free products. If they're a larger channel, maybe we would have to pay. Maybe we would have to sponsor a video or something like that. They would help you negotiate and figure all these things out because supposedly they've done it before. Now, another thing that they can be used for is running ads. And what I'm talking about is, let's say if you have a website on the side that you've developed for the company, they could go ahead and start generating your Black Friday sales, your Christmas sales, your, Valentine's Day coupons, et cetera, et cetera. So they're constantly running things and posting stuff on Twitter and just, keeping the momentum going for your company. This is definitely somebody that you need to put a lot of trust into. So spend a lot of time interviewing a good social media manager for your business. So some of you might have some basic questions about websites. Well, websites these days are pretty much turnkey, right? Whether you're going with Wix or Shopify or Squarespace, a lot of the stuff in there, I feel as if like you could just watch a YouTube video, 2 YouTube videos, and take a couple of crash courses and put something together yourself. Essentially, this whole business model that I'm talking about, all the way from level 0 to level 5, is something that you could pretty much run between just yourself or yourself and your spouse, because you really don't need to hire anybody else except for a couple of specialists. I don't want you to get into too much of the thrifting stuff, because once you start thrifting way too many items, then the work gets way too hectic. If you keep it at 100 to 200, you'll be okay. And then we move on to actually small bulk sourcing as we move on to this enterprise. You'll notice the whole time I only encourage you guys to hire outside specialists when you need it. I will not tell you guys to increase overhead in any way. The philosophy is to stay small enough, long enough, and you'll be big enough soon enough. So guys, that was the video roadmap. Let me know what you think in the comments, and tell me, where are you in this journey right now? Are you just starting off yourself, or are you looking to pivot and scale your business? I'd love to know more in the comments. And if any of you out there would like me to deep dive more into any one of the levels, then we could do that for the next videos. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.
Fast forward to today, I have a lot more freedom than a lot of my colleagues and friends do. Which brings me to the first lesson that I want to share with you, which is if you want to become financially free, you have to first want to be financially free.